Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope y'all are doing well. It is Thursday, August 15th, and it is a little bit after 7:30. I'm glad y'all could come be with us tonight. We got us a good guest coming on tonight. I hope I sit here and just shut up all night long. I can't wait to hear this young lady. Before we get to her, though, let's go ahead and bring on my partner in crime. I'll tell you what, Mr. Weddy, come on in here, bud.
the sound, the sound went on strike.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Weddy?
I'm here, man. I'm here. How y'all doing tonight?
I'm doing good, brother. So you ready to listen to some good Bigfoot stuff tonight?
I'll stay with you as long as I can till my aunt that needs me to come up there. But anyway, yeah, we'll do what we can tonight. Here, I'm ready. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, if you end up having to leave before you go, give me a heads up, and you know what I'm going to have to do. So, but
All right.
anyways, all right, guys, here she comes. Can't wait to talk to this lady. Oh my goodness, been looking forward to this for a long, long time. We set one up and some things happened, but she's with us tonight. Hello, Miss Pat. Come on.
Hi,
Hi, Miss Pat.
nice
How are
to
you
be
doing?
here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh no, and I'm glad you got to come on for a change. That's what I was trying to tell people. We had it lined up. Something happened, and I know what happened, but
Mhm.
that's all right. We got it worked out, and I'm just so proud to have you here.
Sure, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep. So you're friends with Flat Rock.
Yes, we're like family.
Oh, well, we like family. Oh, okay.
hmm Yes,
Hey,
Kenny.
you cannot beat that feller.
No, no, I
No.
love Kenny.
Yeah, I do too. I've talked to him quite often, but not as much as you have, I'm sure. But he is a great guy. Love him to death. But anyways, so tell me something. Have you ever seen a Bigfoot?
Yes, I have. Once.
One time?
Once and a possible second time. I'm
Hmm.
a little unsure, so I only say once.
Okay. Well, do you want me to start out with so, Miss Pat, what got you interested in Bigfoot?
Oh, okay. Well, I've been interested in Bigfoot since I was a child. I grew up in California, and there was a friend of my parents that came to the house one time. This is like without giving away my age, but I'll probably have to. This is probably 67, 68. Um, I was probably about 11 or so. And he came to the house and he had one of those old time reels, that we used years ago. And my father had a projector, and we were not allowed to be in the room. And he told us about an expedition that he was going on. Now, we lived just north of Los Angeles, just outside of Glendale, but we were in the canyons. Now, he lived more North California than we did. And what we were not allowed to be in the room. He played this for my parents. Um, and I never asked what it was. We were not allowed to be in there, but I heard the discussion. And another time he came, we went over their house, and I was sitting in the room, and he was sharing some pictures of Bigfoot with my father and was going on another expedition. Both of my parents have passed now, so I didn't get those answers, which I wish I would have asked exactly what was going on at that time. Um, so I really don't know. So it sparked an interest in Bigfoot for me all my life. Very curious. Um, and I watched a lot of videos as we go on further in life. I was watching videos all the time, and my husband had passed, and I was watching the videos. My kids bought me all this, statues and things like that. Well, um, I discovered YouTube. I didn't know anything about YouTube and the chats and channels and things, and I'm sitting here by myself, and I jumped into the YouTube world of going into a channel. I went into a channel. This individual, she was late at night. There was not many of us, but some of the old folks are still around, and I run into them quite often. And her name was Lady in the Woods, and I was I would go into her channel at night, and it was company. It was company for me, and she decided to have a little meet and greet. Where was she having the meet and greet? At Felk, Arkansas.
Uh-oh.
Now I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I said, I've always wanted to do this. There's my children are grown. I'm going. So there was another lady that was in the chat. She lived in Pennsylvania, not too awfully far from me. We met up here at my house and we drove down. We drove down there and we walked right into Alex Smith Park. And there was mostly women there and we camped out. And I think we camped there for maybe 4 days. It was like 107 degrees in September.
Oh,
In the beginning of September. And there was, I guess, yeah, there was probably about 7 of us. Most of us were women. Now we're right there by the swamp and by the lake. It was beautiful. And we could hear calls at night, different things like that. And I had one of our friends in the chat was Joe, which she's my partner in crime now.
yeah.
And he came down and he set up his tent right next to us. Now, what we would do is we would go to bed about 10 o'clock at night, but we would converse back and forth.
Uh-huh.
Okay. We would talk. That's usually me. We would talk back and forth through our tents at night. And this is how she wanted to do it. About 10 o'clock, we would go in. We would converse back and forth. Our tents were relatively close. Well, and Joe had come down and he pitched his tent next to mine. And one of my girlfriends had come down from New Orleans and she was real good friends with Joe. And she shared a tent with Joe. And we stayed up late and he left the light on for her to come in. And he had went to bed. Well, we decided to go to bed, and she couldn't get the light out, and so there was a light on in there, and she went on to sleep. It was a full moon. It was very clear. You could see very well, and I'm sitting there looking out my tent. I'd stay up most of the night watching and listening, and I watched one belly crawl up to the tent. I was probably 20 feet away, maybe, and I watched it crawl up. I seen basically the shadow because it was so he was so black that you couldn't. It didn't reflect the light. It was hard to see. But what I could see the silhouette. I saw it reaching out to try and touch Joe. You could hear him snoring in the tent to try and reach out and touch him. And I could see the arm reach forward, and I could only see from the chest up. And it appeared to be more of maybe a juvenile. They were known to run through there because they were used to the people around there. And it reached out to touch the tent, and I couldn't help myself. I got so excited and I said, "Hello." I said, "Come here, let me see you." I started talking to it. Now, the lady in the channel's in the tent right next to it. She's listening to it crawl up next to her. It's right by her. And she's listening to me try and talk to this thing. And It stopped and it backed out. I go, oh man, I just probably just blew it. A couple minutes later, it crawled. Joe was snoring loud again, and it crawled up next to the tent and to reach out and touch him. And I had to say something again. It stood there. It sat there for a few minutes. It was laying there, and it backed out. And I didn't. And that was the end of that one. But the night before,
Hold up, hold up, hold up,
okay,
hold up.
okay, I could see the silhouette and everything. I tried to get it to come over to me. um I'm one of those. I worked with thoroughbred racehorses. My late husband was a jockey, so I was used to working with large animals, and I love animals and I connect with them very well. And so I was trying my luck. That's what I came there to see.
Let me ask you a question. Got to.
Yes,
I've got to. Oh my goodness gracious.
sure.
Was you in Falk, Arkansas?
Yes,
Okay, I want to make sure I was clear on that. And you
yes.
saw it crawl up.
I saw it belly crawl up to the tent twice.
How'd that look?
What do you mean? I could only
Okay,
see from
okay.
the chest up. It was
Was it
laying down. It was laying down.
okay? Was the arms stretched out,
It was stretched
extended all the way
out.
to the side, or was it
It
like a
no,
push-up
I
type deal?
I couldn't see that part. I could only see from here up, where I
Uh-huh.
could see where it was reaching to touch him. It was up against the ground.
What could you make anything out of the back or the rear end where the legs
No,
might would be?
no, no, none of that part. Just from the upper chest on up. But I could see the hair hanging
Hmm.
off of the arms.
Hmm.
I could see the conical head shape. Um, very black, very black.
Hmm.
I didn't see any eye shine with it. But I saw the silhouette. I know what I saw. I could see the hair on the head, the face, the chest, and the arms. And the hair hanging down off of the arms, dangling from the arms.
Okay, I'm gonna hang on just a second. Hello, Kim. Cap and cage free. Hey, Kevin. I'm still on you, little turkey. Mr. Athens, good to see you tonight. Of course, there's Miss Vicky over here. Uh, Miss Pat. And let's see here. Old Bear is in here somewhere. I know I seen him.
Hi,
Uh,
Ralph.
yeah. And let's see who else. I know my other buddy AT's in here. That's Alabama Tide. I got some football buddies in here too. And let's see. And Miss Sharon. I know she's in here. I seen her a while ago. And I believe Steven. Steven's my guy. He's with us all the way. And let's see. That's all I could see for right now. I don't want to scroll too far up. But I didn't want to move on without saying hello to everyone. Uh, let's see. Stinking in. This is a special guest tonight, so we will not be running a panel, but maybe later on during the show. But for right now, this is all about Miss Pat, okay, hon? So if not, come back and see us next week, okay, hon? So anyway, I didn't want her to hang out there. Uh, I've seen pictures of them belly crawling from my buddy.
Mhm.
So that's interesting to me, Miss Pat. Uh,
Yes. Was
Everybody's, it's like any kind of images I have of Bigfoot, they're standing 9 to 12 feet tall, big, hairy, growl, big monster. You don't never think of them being down belly crawling. And I did see a picture not too long ago from a trusted friend that he had a picture of one belly crawling. I haven't got back with him to find out what's the story behind it, but that is just fascinating to see something that big. Well, you think it was a juvenile?
I believe so. It wasn't humongous. The best I could probably guess, it was probably, if I wanted to guess, I would put.
Uh oh. Uh oh. She didn't pay her internet
Okay.
bill.
No, I told him not to message me, and yet he goes and does it anyway. And I tell him not to. I said, "Look, I'm going to be on. and here he goes, Um, I'm telling you. But no, I would say it was probably 5 to 6 feet tall if I want to guess.
Yeah.
Um, is what I'm gonna probably say according to, part of the body that I saw that would probably match.
Yeah.
They're
I,
pretty big over there.
I'll tell you what, I don't care if he's 5, 6 feet, 3 feet tall. He's crawling toward me. Whack! Get up out of there.
Yeah.
So I see. So I'm working on a theory. And I told this
Yes.
to old Bear, I believe it was, or it might have been Thomas. I said, I'm wondering, Grizzly snores like crazy. He is loud. And I'm
Hmm.
not trying to pick on him. I really ain't. It's just a
Right.
fact.
Right.
So now I'm hearing Joe is snoring in a
Hmm.
tent.
Hmm.
And something's got, let's just say something was crawling around and it was coming to see him.
Yes.
I've got a sneaky feeling that that's kind of like a curiosity or a call to them, because some of them big ones, big lungs, if they snore, they're going to be loud. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Right.
wondering if it's a recognizable sound to them, is what I'm getting at. I'm wondering.
Well, I would say possibly that too. And we were dry camping too with a bunch of women. So, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm the first one to go pee in the woods. Be honestly frank with you. That's what I do.
Now, and I don't mean to be rude. I really don't,
No,
or
no.
too personal. Did you go with somebody?
Did I go with somebody?
I'm
No.
talking about when you had to relieve yourself. You
Oh,
just walked out there in the woods by
oh
yourself.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I
Miss
went
Pat,
everywhere I could go.
you're
I'm just
crazier.
trying to bring him in.
You're
Yes.
crazier than I am.
I did it Flat Rocks too. That's what we do. Us girls do. Some
Hey,
of
I
us.
love it. Country girl. That's what it is. Country girl. I'm sorry for interrupting, but that was just fantastic. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Okay, but the night before, Joe wasn't there yet, so I need to back that up a little bit. We had all retired to our tents. There was one couple there. That was her husband was there. Um, she had a travel trailer there. Now, we retired to our tents. Moon was full, and I was laying down in my tent. I'd have the screens all open, everything. I'm not gonna miss a thing. I laid down in my tent, and you could watch them running through the camp. You could hear them and running through the camp. And as fast as they can run, you could see the shadows running back and forth all over around through there. What they did is they slapped my tent down. Okay, all right, I'll give you that one. And take off running. And they're fast. I mean, lightning fast. The shadows and the movement you could hear the little pitter patter just running through the camp, in between the tents. They came through again, slapped the tent down again. All right. They had noseyed around the camper as well, rattled their door. Now the third time it slapped the tent, went way down, and it hit me in the face.
Mm.
And that startled me. And I guess they were trying to look for a reaction, and nobody's saying anything. And I hollered because I was a little unnerved by that. And we had been hearing them vocalizing across the lake there at Alex Smith Park and everything anyway. And it scared me. And Dee Sims from Lady in the Woods, she says, Pat, what's the matter? I said, they're slapping my tent. They slapped my tent down. She says, get out of your tent right now. Get out of your tent. I mean, I panicked in the tent. I said, okay. So I slipped my shoes on and I got out of the tent. And she says, come on. And she says, meet me out by my tent. She was right next to me. I did. She grabbed my hand. She walked me to there was I want to say a creek or something. It's almost like an overflow. If the lake would overflow or what have you, from extensive rains, there's a big ditch right there. And we had been seeing eye shine through there anyway. And she walked me, I could see like a pale blue eye shine, almost whitish blue eye shine. All along there, you could see it. She walked me right up to the edge there. She said, tell them to stop. Tell them that they can't do that. You tell them to stop right now. She held my hand and stuff, and I told them, you can't do this. You have to stop. You don't do this anymore. And okay, and I scolded them just like a child.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, okay, now, are you okay? And I go, yeah. She says, okay, go back to your tent if you want to, if you're all right. That's okay. I said, okay. They didn't bother us the rest of the night. You could hear movement, but they didn't do any of that the rest of the night. And I slept with my shoes on all night. She asked me, why'd you sleep with your shoes on? I said, the next one I was chasing down. I was going after it. I slept with my shoes on all night long. They laughed over that one. No, I was going after the next one. I wanted to see. I wanted to see.
Spanky,
So
spanky.
I
Bad
know.
boy.
Yeah. But I've scolded them a few times and it's worked. It works for me anyway.
Don't worry, it worked on me too. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. It works on Joe as well.
Yeah, it did.
Um,
I don't know if he's in the chat room, but yeah. Mm.
he might be, but we had at this point, um, I'm down. If I want to go forward with this, a few years forward, we went to Louisiana. I went down, and I've been down in Louisiana. So Joe and I met through the chat. Actually, we were good friends for probably a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And anyways, I've gone down there. I lived in the South most of my life anyway. I lived in Florida for 20 years, Central Florida, and what have you, and traveled a lot as well. I've lived in Louisiana, but we are in north central Louisiana. I'm probably an hour from Texas. I'm in between Shreveport and Alexandria
Mm-hmm.
there. And I'm there most of the time. I do come to Ohio to check on the house and what have you, and visit with my children, and then I go back down. And that's what I'm doing right now. But Joe also likes to go out. He's a hunter, though. He doesn't really want that much experience. He doesn't want to ruin his hunting, you know.
Yeah.
And he has heard sounds and different things, and he follows all that as well. So what he would do at midnight, we're probably 25 minutes from the national forest there, and he said, hey, you want to go out bookering? Sure, it's midnight, we don't have anything to do. So we take off and we go out to the national forest. And I have had the one experience that really stands out. We would go to this one area that we will walk down through there on the road, and on the side are ditches which goes out into the swamp, and it's kind of high low there. It varies at what time of the year. And Joe got out of the truck. He walked a few, I would say probably 10 feet away from me, and I'm standing right by the truck. He says, Pat, I have something in front of me. I hear it. And I said, Joe, I have something in front of me. And we're sitting there listening. All of a sudden, I hear, it's called a bull roar, the only way I can explain it. It sounds like that what the Aborigines used. They used it on Crocodile Dundee, where it goes boom, boom, boom. I had that happen about 5 different times. I shined a flashlight, and several times it was, I would say, only 10 feet in front of me. and I couldn't see anything. Now, I've been told that it's possibly infrasound, that they can project that.
Mhm.
I didn't get sick or anything. Um, but that did happen to me several times there that night. In that same area, I have we have experienced wood knocks, rock clacking, and this is during the day we have experienced those. Um, we've had several things like that happen in this specific area. Now, there's another area that we have gone down into that I found a structure. Now, this is in the middle of the national forest now.
Mhm.
I found a structure and I sent you some pictures of that.
I've got it.
Okay. And I was nothing is sawed off. It's all broken. There's no one around there, not in that area. We're deep in there. I did, so I watched this. I took some pictures and I watched it for a year, basically. In the beginning, I watched it very closely. We did notice that, there was some green fields that were close to the area. There was some intersections of some roadway there. Um, Also, I was standing in front of it one day, one afternoon. Joe walked off to go do scouting for turkey, and we usually stay in one another's sight, but he was out of my sight for some reason. And there was a turkey gobbling at me right right there, right by that structure, right across from that structure where I couldn't see what it was. I felt like I was being lured. I had a very strong feeling. I went to the truck that day. But in that area, so we kind of focused in that area quite a bit. I did decide eventually I wanted to see if the structure would grow or change or anything, and we weren't getting anything off of it. So I decided to touch it and everything, and it's pretty much all apart now. I saw we went back like a week or two later. It started disappearing. Things were coming off of it after I touched it. I don't know why. But on up the road there, Joe decided we were experimenting. And we were experimenting with what they call a drum bull. But what he did, he decided to try and mimic that sound with a reed. And he was like a wounded coyote or whatever. He was trying to do that. He got out of the truck. We had been to town, so out to dinner. So, and it was pitch black. We weren't really prepared to do too much. We just happened to run through the forest on the way home, and he was mimicking this call. This roar come back at us that it put Joe in the truck. I'm laughing. I don't have a recorder with me, so I can't record it. It sounded like what they call that the Tyrannosaurus Rex call or whatever. Um, it would vibrate. You would feel it vibrate. Joe said, "That's it. You can have it. I'm out of here." We didn't want to get blocked in or anything because what it was is on both sides of us were uh, they there was they had been doing some there was clear cuts on both sides of us, and this was on the other side of the clear cut. So it was relatively close. He could get up to us really quick and block us off. So we decided not to pursue um, that night. But this is all in the area where we had found the structure. I'd found a couple more or whatever, suspect. And I had played with a tri-field meter with, I'm real good friends with Chris Reinhardt from Discover Sasquatch. And he clued me in on these. So Joe bought me a tri-field meter and I walked underneath it and it went off. So I found that to be very interesting. I have videotaped it and recorded that as well. Um, and then as we move on in the same forest, there's beautiful campgrounds. We decided to go camping. And we took our camper out there and we used, and we're sitting there one night. It's about 11 o'clock. Joe had just went to bed. I'm shutting the lights down, getting ready to go to bed. And now we're using a generator. It's still rather warm. I hear something on his side of the bed. I hear movement outside. And I told Joe, I said, Joe, I hear movement. We probably have a camper that's probably, I think it's 2050 or whatever. It's ends up being like 24 foot. And I hear movement outside of the camper on Joe's side of the bed. And you could hear it move past the kitchen. I always leave the kitchen window open because nothing could get in there. And it moved on down. We could hear it moving on down to where the door was. And that kind of startled Joe there. We could hear we could hear quite a bit of movement and a little bit of shifting. Joe decided to pound on the wall. And all of a sudden, and we could hear it coming back. All of a sudden, Joe's pounding on the bedroom wall at it. And all of a sudden, the trailer starts rocking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And now he's calling. Oh, my goodness. and it was rocking back and forth and back and forth. And it startled us. And Joe reached over for his sidearm at that point. I didn't know what to do. It took us totally off guard. And the only thing I knew to do was to holler at it. I said, hey, you can knock that off right now. We're not having any of this, because I knew what it was. And I was afraid. We have a ladder on the back of our camper. And I was afraid it was going to climb on top of the camper, was my fear.
Yeah.
And here we are. There's no one to help us. We were lucky to see, if we spent the day in the national forest, we were lucky to see one car. We were on our own. So the only thing I knew is to holler back at it. It instantly stopped. And we have a tip out on the camper. Whatever it was rocking it all back and forth. Now, we had to go out. We had to go out at 1 o'clock in the morning to put more fuel in the generator. And that was kind of scary. So it was Ma and Pa, as Joe says. He's in his boxers. I'm in my nightgown. He's given me the judge and a flashlight. And we're going out there and we're filling up the tank. So we got that taken care of and went back in. But Joe had got up and went to the restroom too. And what he did is he parked the truck right behind the camper there, and it was right by the bathroom. And what he would do, before, when we were going to go out, what he did is he started the truck up. So if anything was around there, we could basically run it off. We tried to debunk it all. We can't debunk it to this day. When he did go to the restroom there, something heavy was right there and scurried off. We've had that experience. That was a little bit frightening there. That one was.
Now, in all this time, did you ever find any footprints?
No, it was really, really hard there. We did find footprints at the swamp. I sent you one footprint of the swamp. The footprints I have sent you are from a bog that no one goes into. I climbed way deep in that with boots on. To find those. I did find one old one at the swamp that I had sent you to, where you can see my boot.
Yep.
Those are from the National Forest as well. I haven't tried to cast anything. I don't do much of that. I am big into audio, though. Very big into audio.
Well, I'll tell you what. Now, them pictures that you sent me of the structures and some kind of piece of metal
Uh-huh.
and um, the footprint, were they, were they in? Was that the structure you was talking about?
Yes, and
Okay.
also the metal that you see, we went out with a flashlight, and it looks like we felt like something had run underneath the camper when the camper was shook, and we found those. We found some fingerprints right there, and it looked like maybe it brushed up against it with hair or something. We just found those and found those very odd because there was a lot of pollen during that time. That
Mm-hmm.
camper was clean, and there was a lot, and we had just washed that camper, and there was a lot of pollen um, while we were camping there, and it all stuck to the camper. And it took me a few times. It was oily, whatever it was, because I've had a hard time getting it off the camper. It's off now,
Mm-hmm.
but those were some marks that what we experienced when the camper was shook.
All right.
We
If you don't mind, we're going to
Sure.
show them. By the way, while I got a chance, bye, Miss Brenda. She's a lady from the chat room. I just think the world over. That's good, Waylon, about the messages. We're going to discuss those things next week. And I normally don't announce my guests coming on, but we're going to try have Mr. Leonard Lenny Athens come on next Thursday. So we want to save that for next week, guys. But I want y'all to see what she was talking about here. So let's get it up here to play. Is it up? Oh, hang on.
Okay. There's one of the structures. Oh,
Okay.
that's a vine that Joe found, and it looked like a chair, so I decided to climb in it
I
and take a
see.
picture.
That's a neat little vine right there. I will tell
Isn't
you.
it though? Isn't it?
It is.
The things that you can find in the forest.
I mean, that's just might as well have a hammock there.
Yes. Now this now people get confused about structures. I can't tell you this. This is live trees right here. I wanted to show that you can see structures, but sometimes they're live trees. Now the thing is these are growing on a rock formation, and they also do have burns there as well. And I don't believe this is a structure at all. I really don't. I
I
think this
look.
is just the heat and the way that they had grown. The seeds went into the rock there,
Uh,
but
you
I
think
don't
it?
believe that to be a structure. No. I think
Okay.
it's just I think it's just a little freak of nature.
Well, it would grab my attention. I'll tell you that.
Right, right. But
That
not
is
everything is a structure.
okay. What about this one?
Mm, I don't see that one. Okay, that's the same one.
That's not the same structure, is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
It's very odd.
Yes.
Why is the
No,
base of the
no.
tree up in the air?
Oh no, no. No, I'm not seeing movement there. I'm just seeing the one that we talked about. I'm just seeing the one.
Okay, the one that's on the screen right now is the one that has a gentleman in a green shirt and blue jeans.
Oh no, I don't have that. Like I'm showing that you're showing the structure. I showed you showed that before,
Yeah.
but I'm not
Okay.
seeing that. The other
Okay.
structures are the real structures. That
Yeah.
right there, that's Joe, and that is a structure we found. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that looked like a structure.
Yes.
This one is if it's the same one, I believe, close up.
Yes.
Hmm.
The one close up is really nice.
It is. I hate trying to figure out wood.
I don't see that. I just see the one where Joe's with it.
Okay. What about now?
No, that's the fingerprints I found on
Yeah.
the camper that we
Okay.
found that night. That we took a flashlight out there.
And that's the fingerprint. Now, what is this? The door or what is that?
No, that's the slide. That's right by the slide out.
Okay. All right.
Because it's right across from the door. We believe something run underneath the camper too. This is right by the slide out as well. All of these are right by the slide out that we had discovered.
Does look like hair marks on it, don't it?
Yes, it really does. We found that those were a little bit odd, enough to grab our attention.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, that we felt that that's possibly what it was. Can't say 100%. We didn't see him do it, but there as well.
That one on the left is the same one,
Mhm.
and it's just extended out here to the right.
Yes.
Okay.
So we did find those after the trailer was shaken.
See what it does. There we go.
That's at the swamp right there. That's an old print. It's right up next to a tree. There was only one. Right at the edge of where the picture would be is nothing but water.
To the left or the right?
All to the left and straight ahead.
Uh-huh.
The top of it would be all water after that. There was just the one print right there, and it leads right into the water.
Now, is that pretty hard ground there too?
During that period when I found that,
Yeah.
it kind of was, the water was low. No, it's mostly pine straw and stuff, but this didn't have old leaf litter and pine straw around it or anything. It was just a very big impression there. It
Oh
was an
yeah.
area I like to go to, and that's the area where I heard that crazy sound. It was right there in that area right there. So I have a tendency to check that area out a lot. And we discovered that, and I found that. I found it to be interesting. I couldn't cast it or anything because
Yeah.
it appeared to be old. Joe did find like a trackway of in the water of and some moss that resembled a possible trackway, but we can't say 100%.
That's
We
a
found
Bigfoot.
stuff. Yes, I thought it was.
It looks. I mean, uh, what size shoe you wear, and you don't have to say, but you could just tell.
I
Look,
wear a size, that's a size 8 boot.
yeah, and look at the size of the heel back here.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, I get fascinated by these big footprints. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just fascinating to me. They are.
I found that's why I went ahead and took a picture of it. None of the pine straw was removed or anything like that. We took it just like we saw it.
Yeah, yeah, I can tell.
Mhm.
All right, now this one, the one with the water in it.
Oh, we have a bog. We have a bog there that it is nothing. There. Let me take that back. There is a bog there that also has a natural spring to it there.
Mm-hmm.
And people come from all over Louisiana to get this water. They come with jugs, all kinds of stuff, to get water because the um, the college had tested it, and it's 99.9% pure. But all on top of it and alongside of it, for a few acres, is a bog, and nothing grows in it except rare carnivorous plants, like your pitcher plants and your sundews, all grow in there. And I walked up in there. I had to watch it because of snakes and things
Mm-hmm.
and critters or whatever. It was pretty tall, but I discovered those prints that you see with the water in them in that
Mm-hmm.
bog. In that bog.
Now that's interesting. And before we move on, old Bear's about to have a fit.
Oh, he
He
probably is.
He wants you to come to Salt Fork so bad. And be honest with you, I do too.
Oh, well, we had talked about doing that in the future here. I'm
Mhm.
not all that far from it. I'm
Mhm.
about 25 miles east of Cincinnati.
But I'll tell you what, it is on the 22nd to the 25th. I will be there on Saturday. Uh, but you're more than welcome to come. And like you said, Mrs. Bear is going to do some fine cooking. If you
Oh, she
miss
sure will.
that southern cooking, we're going to have fried taters, pinto beans, cornbread,
Hmm.
hamburgers, hot dogs. I can't remember what all she said. And I plan on eating a bunch of pinto beans, and I'm going to ride with Thomas.
Oh, wow. If I
I,
can make it, I'll try to. I know I'm leaving here the 27th,
okay.
and heading back to Louisiana. I have some camping I have to do down there as well, that we have some trips planned.
Okay. Well, now this is going to be, oh, bear straighten me out if I'm wrong. I believe at the group campground.
Okay.
Okay. So if you
Okay.
get a chance to come on, stop by and see us if
Okay.
nothing else.
Okay.
If you get a
There-
chance.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That sounds like fun. Oh, we
Oh,
all
shoot.
love that. We love those invites.
Oh, yeah. And I've had a good time when I went up in April. That was fun. All right. So this footprint is what got me kind of curious. It's narrowed down back there to the hill,
Yes.
and the toes look pointed.
Oh, on the ones with the water.
Uh
Okay,
huh.
it hasn't
Yeah.
flipped to that. I don't see that one. Um, those, yeah, those look a little odd, don't they?
Let me see if that helps. If it flips for you. Did that
Yeah.
flip?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, those look a little bit odd, don't it?
Hmm. I found it to be. I thought it was enough. It was worthy enough that I thought, oh, I'll take a couple pictures.
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt. Because
Hmm.
I'm curious to what made that.
Yes.
And I'm just going on an assumption here. Don't nobody nail me on this. But it's possible this could be a juvenile or female.
Possibly.
Possible. That's just an assumption. Yep, say there. Oh, Bear, you taught me well.
Well, I'm camping well, when I go back, I'm camping with some mutual friends of his as well. Um with Bud and Angie and Jody.
Oh, Bears.
What I'm going down to. Yes, but Old Bear knows them. Yes,
Okay.
Bud and Angie and Jody
All right. Let's see
and
if I
Flat
can.
Rock and Flat Rock as well.
Y'all be good to Flat Rock. That's
Oh,
all I will say.
he'll tell you I'm good to him. I take
Oh
care of
yeah,
Flat Rock.
yeah. I don't blame you. Okay, can you see this now in the cornfield or in the weeds, whatever it may be?
No,
Hadn't flipped yet.
no,
Okay, let
no.
me see. Let me see.
It's probably another footprint.
No,
Oh, oh, oh. Um,
it
is
should
there?
flip.
Oh, okay. Now I'll tell you what this is. This is a picture that from Mark Green's. I don't know if you knew who Mark Green is.
I've heard of it.
Okay, he's Cedar Creek Bottoms farmstead in life.
Hmm.
Um, he is also a homesteader as well. Him and his wife both. Um, this is taken out of his cornfield. Picture out of his cornfield.
Hang on a sec. Oh, he done gone. Go ahead. That's what I thought it might have been a cornfield. Well, it had to leave. His aunt just
It
got
has.
home.
He has them
Yep.
on his property as well. This is in Alabama, and and he does have them on his property. I've camped on his property. I we stayed overnight there in our camper en route to Flat Rocks, and I did some audio, and I got some stuff on the audio. It was like 4 hours of it, and we were sitting around a campfire and heard things. They like to slap his barn and things. Um,
Oh,
yeah, but I gave him the audio on all of that. He has that, but this is in his cornfield in Alabama.
all right.
I found that to be unusual.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Mhm.
All right, now does that show anything different to you?
I don't see anything. It's black.
Oh,
There it
yeah,
is.
it's black screen. Okay. All right, I'm gonna see if this is the audio part, and if it is, it's the one that loops. Okay, and it should play about 3 times. Let's see if this is it.
Okay. I can't hear anything anyway.
Okay, well that should have. It's the one where it is looped around 3 times. Uh,
Okay, that one there, that was at Holland's Hunters Camp, and that's in Alabama. And that there, I don't particularly care for that recording
mhm.
itself. That was sent off to David Ellis to go over, and this is where he has adjusted it. I think it distorted it too much. But we had a very, but you have another one there. I sent you a little while ago on the Dropbox. This is the same thing,
Yeah, yeah.
which
That's
is
what.
better. Which is better. This is us camping. I don't know what this is, but it went on for an hour.
Okay, well the one that was in the Dropbox, that's the one I played.
Is that what you played?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I couldn't
it
hear
is.
it. Okay. I couldn't hear it because it's so worthwhile. There, but like I said, it was sent off to David Ellis. He has stated that it is very suspicious,
Mm-hmm.
and for us to go back there, which I've already camped there 3 times anyway already, and he didn't know, but we had some something beating on maybe a stump or something right there, whatever it was during that period of time. um we had let me see, I have a giggle ball that that is a dog toy, and when you roll it, it giggles.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that sitting outside the camper. There was only 4 of us there um that evening, and Joe was one of them, and myself and 2 other individuals. And he got the better audio of that. We both had recorders out that night. But I also, they were tapping on something, was tapping on my grill, and what gets me, it sounds like rocks are being thrown all night. Now, there's no pine cones laying around, and you don't see any rocks, but you hear it hitting the camper. You hear all of this stuff, and they seem to like my camper. Um, is what goes on there. We heard like strange birds. He did play some things, some instruments there
Mm-hmm.
that night, which would be known to bring them in and things like that. A didgeridoo, and he had one of those the skulls and things like that. He played some of that stuff, and I we can't help but think that helped bring them in. Plus, there was not many people there yet that night, and it was a meet and greet with Mark Green that we've been friends with for years.
Okay.
Um, so the one audio, you do have that on Messenger, and it did come. I don't know how that one would come through either, but
Let's
there
find out.
it's a yipping sound, and then you hear a moaning, which I found very odd.
All right. Let's see if y'all can hear this.
Hmm. No, that's Jody.
Is that Jody?
Yeah, that's at Flat Rocks, but we can listen to it.
goes again.
There it is.
That's what I was waiting on.
There's
That's what.
another one. Here's the other one. That's coyotes at that point.
Yeah.
It was like roll call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But I heard that one. I heard it in there.
okay, there is another one with Jody, and that was the first one that we did at Flat Rocks, and she had one screaming right in front of her as well that scared her pretty bad. And she had one hollering at it was like roll call in there. They were calling from down the road, calling Flat Rock did you hear that? And but Jody is a retired opera singer. And we camped with her quite a bit with Bud and Angie. They were also there, and they were recording. Anybody that would like to see any of that, you can go to Bud and Angie's Fun Adventures, and that episode, something in Alabama, I believe it's called.
It is.
It's all videotaped on there, and but there is a second call that Jody did like 2 or 3 hours later, and you're not getting a reaction from the dogs or anything, but there is a call back as well on that one if you wanted to play that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to point over here. You have absolute nerves of pure steel. That's from David Rosty. Uh, yeah, I have to agree with him. I do. All right, let me see if this is the one that you wanted to play. Is something knocking out there?
No, that's
I
her
see
talking.
the headphones stuff. I know it responds here in a second. Let me hold up a second. Is it just me, or what's clanking there in the background?
It's just it's probably crickets and what have you.
Okay.
It's what you're hearing. It's coming through rather clear.
Well, see, I got the headphones on, and so it's hard for me to hear what y'all were hearing. But I keep hearing something go,
No, it's just it's whatever. It's probably just night noise.
knocking. Okay.
Just night noise. See that you hear nothing, but hang on. There it is.
Yep.
Hmm. So that's pretty much on that one. We did hear a bird, but it was right there in front of us. But what was really odd is I had a thermal out, was looking, but I was by a tree, so it was blocking that area. I would Flat Rock. I don't know. I don't know if it was like 30 yards away or whatever, to our right when we were facing the woods. Um, I think it's on the video. It's a little hard to see, but Angie panned around with her recorder, and there was something standing there, probably about 6 foot tall or so, maybe even taller. I don't know. And there was eye shine, and we watched, and it was blinking. We didn't see it when we were there. We caught it on the video. Uh, that this is all at Flat Rocks, but on that was on Saturday night. We did all that. On Sunday, Jody had to leave, and Flat Rock, myself, and Joe were sitting outside by our camper, and Angie and Bud had just went to their truck and went to bed, and it was probably maybe 40 yards from where we were sitting right there outside the camper that we had one come up and scream at us 2 or 3 times right there. And it sounded just like Jody, just like her.
That one did sound good. The one that, let me see.
But it sounded just like her. And at the same time, Bud had something going on at his truck too. And there was some grunts and things like that going on as well. So they were around there. I've got a lot of recording from Flat Rocks of the walking. And they were all over the camper. You know, they were very interested in Jody. Jody wanted to sleep in the car, and she had that mesh, and with her windows down. It's like the last day of September, so it was cool enough, but you didn't want to sleep with the windows open. I tried to get her to come in the camper. She wouldn't. She wanted to sleep out there, but they were all around her. And because I had a recorder sitting on the table by her truck, and I've got it all recorded. I hear walking. I heard whistling. It didn't. It. What I find odd is you can learn a lot through audio. That the whistling, they whistled through their teeth. Now I have another audio in a different area. In a different area in Alabama where it was pursed lips, which I found that very interesting. And yes, I know, Old Bear, we did things that you don't like us to do, but I don't even have to look at the chat.
Get her, Old Bear.
We went there for a purpose. Flat Rock has been called a hoaxer many, many times.
Really?
Yes, and his life has even been threatened and things like that. That wasn't my first trip at Flat Rocks. I told them all that they were there because Joe and I had gone there with Squatch and Cowboy like a year before or so, and his wife was a skeptic, and no one or women had ever camped out in his yard, and we tent camped that night, those few nights, and it had rained and things. We were there only a couple days, but I tend to stay awake all night long and listen, just lay there and listen. And I heard some really crazy things, but it was about 4:30 in the morning. I heard the most mournful scream I have ever heard in my life, and she heard it as well. She said, "Pat, do you hear that? You know, hollering at the tent next to me." She is a believer now, and because she heard that for her own ears, and it's a risk we take, and but hey, I'm 68 years old. I'm gonna
You don't look it.
I'm
You
gonna
don't.
go and find the answers. I've been waiting all my life to know, and I go there to take that risk. And I have Joe as bait anyway, so and it doesn't matter that he's like 6'3", and 275 pounds. It doesn't matter, you know. But we go there to take that risk, and that's now normally what we never normally do calls or anything. I'm a firm believer in sit around the camp, and they'll come to you. And I got a lot of recordings and a lot of we've got a lot of activity that way, and use very little equipment. We'll put a recorder out at night and things like that, but that's about it. I prefer them to come to us,
Yeah.
but we went there to make a point, and I think we were successful. We are going back in the future here, and I know behave, and I know we were all blondes too, Ralph. We were all blonde, and yeah, I've camped with Old Bear before.
Oh, have you?
But yes, but the thing is we knew what we were getting into, and we were willing to take that risk when we went. And I have so far, knock on wood, I really have had not any aggressive episodes. I've had one time that one come up behind me in Louisiana. I had been walking on a dirt road, and Joe had went up uh, to fill his feeders with corn, and I was just nosing on the roadway. It had just rained. I want to see if there was any tracks or anything. There's been several reports around that area, and things like that. Mike Woolley had done some investigating around there. He was from the area anyway in Louisiana, and I had walked back to the truck, and I was getting the mud off my boots, scraping it onto the grass. I had just stepped onto the grass, and this is out in the country. This is part of Joe's property that he hunts on. And something 30 yards away from me screamed at me. It sounded like a grumpy old man, and he was not happy. I expected to turn around and look and find the individual what had hollered standing there, and there was nothing there. And I thought for a minute. I thought, well, Joe's not here. I might want to get in the truck. I know there's protection in the truck or whatever, and I can toot the horn for Joe. I can lay on the horn. And I might be better off in the truck, but I wouldn't shut the door because I wanted to be able to hear. And I would say maybe 10 minutes later, I just sat there. 10 minutes later, I heard that same yell and everything up on the hill a distance away, so I knew it was gone. That's the only time that I'd even want to even say something was aggressive, and I didn't feel it. Shook me up a little bit though, but other
Yeah.
than that, Flat Rocks, I have a lot of sound, a lot of recordings, uh, um a lot of walking, a lot of breaking sticks. um Flat Rock, they were hitting on a pipe over there. I don't know what they were doing. Here's something that I found out of all my recordings at anywhere. This is at Flat Rocks that I have found very interesting. You could sit outside and you could hear, you know how road noise is with tires hitting roads
Oh, yeah.
and things like that. Okay, well, I heard that repeated throughout the day. Well, that night on the recorder, it was only a couple of feet away. It was right by the door. On the metal part of the awning, whatever it was had something, and it was mimicking that road sound, that same tapping, that same exact sound of the road noise. And I found that to be extremely interesting.
I did too. Let me ask you a question. Do you care to talk to old Bear for 10 minutes?
No, I don't care.
Old Bear,
He'll
get on
fuss at
here.
me. He'll fuss at me, but that's okay.
I'll straighten him out when I get back.
Okay.
Yeah, come on over there and help me out because Waylon had to leave for his aunt had just gotten out of the hospital, checking her out. So old Bear knows what's going on. So come
Sure
on,
he
old
does.
Bear. Come on, old Bear. I'm waiting on you.
Come
Hang
on.
on.
Come on, Ralph.
There you go, old Bear. Gotta put you on there. I got, but before he gets on here, or at least I hope he will. Uh, this mimicking. Do
Yeah.
you think they hear all kinds of sounds and they attempt to try to uh, make these sounds as best as possible? And there's a reason I'm asking this.
I believe they do mimic because I cannot explain that sound that's only 2 feet away from the recorder doing that and then mimicking that same exact road sound. My firm beliefs. I question um, the autism. I question it. I think that people with autism and things like that like pattern
Yeah,
and they like music
yeah.
and different things like that. Um, I think it is a big possibility.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this much. From I don't know when, but there's a guy that wrote a book about Bigfoot and autism,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I can't remember his name, but he's agreed to come on the show.
Christopher
But
Noel.
I think so. I think so.
Christopher Noel. Yes.
But he's in his second book, and he said he's going to try to come on when his book comes out
Hmm.
sometime this fall. So I'll get back with him. I'd like to hear this story that he's got. Old Bear, I'm waiting on you.
Yes.
Oh,
But I have some stuff that's been going on in the national forest too, at a different location. So
well, right now the mimicking is
it
what blows my mind. And the reason why I
very
say that, you
very
sent
much.
me a recording, and I don't know if, let me try and see if I can play it well, if I see Old Bear's coming or not. He might not. Let me see if you can hear this. See if this is what the same one.
Mm, hmm.
That's the one. Yeah. What in the world have you done to my screen? I don't know if you. All right, I'm gonna cut it off right there because it's about off. Uh,
Now,
there is
what
a.
is that?
Well, we're gonna get into that right now. We'll get into it when I come back. Right
Okay.
now, my buddy's come to save me.
Okay. And I'm gonna catch some flack.
Well, that's all right. Better you than me.
That's okay. That's okay.
All right,
Hello,
I will.
Ralph.
I
Hello,
will be
Ralph.
back in about 5 or 6 minutes. I appreciate this, bud.
How you doing,
Okay, let's have it.
Pat?
I'm doing great. How
Oh,
about
no, no,
you?
no, no, no. I'm not going to do you that way. I wouldn't do that. So you, when you go down there to Flat Rocks and you do your investigations there, is there anything in
Yes.
particular that y'all do that to get them to come around, or do y'all just hang out by the fire and?
Okay, because you're breaking up. But yes. Well, normally, um, the first time we went with Cowboy and stuff, we didn't do anything. They basically come in. Now, when we went to Flat Rocks this last time with Angie and Bud and Jody, we
Mhm.
decided to do a night walk, and just walk through and just kind of
Mhm.
announce ourselves. We didn't say anything or yell or anything. We just walked around deep into his property a little bit and came back out. And
Mhm.
that was kind of it. But so that was basically to announce ourselves. But on my recorder, I have got them walking all around all night long. So they came in. That's
Well,
the
I
only
mean, it
thing that I
worked.
do know. Hmm.
I mean, as long
I can't hear you.
as it
Yeah,
worked, that's what you got to do.
right. I don't bait them with food. You could hear them. My cooler was right next to the camper on Jody's cooler,
Hmm.
and they opened it up and you could hear them, but they didn't touch anything or anything. Um, and there was stuff in there. You could hear all of that. And like I said, they were tapping on the awning part, the metal part. That
Yeah.
tapping was very interesting. Um, the only vocalizations that we heard is when Jody called out to them, because what she did is she mimicked an audio recording that Flat Rock had,
Hmm.
and she mimicked that to the T and called out to them, and it was like roll call the first time around, and we were pretty much surrounded. We What doesn't pick up on the audio, we actually heard, with our own ears. We were
Hmm.
surrounded with them. They weren't aggressive or anything like that. The second time she did the calls, though, there was no dogs, no coyotes, nothing responded except for when she did that last call that she did a pitch higher.
Hmm.
We got that half call back. And other than that, the night after, though, we really questioned if they were looking for Jody, because whatever it was that came up by the camper when we were sitting outside at 11 o'clock at night sounded just like her. And what we found interesting too is Bud had a recorder running right
Hmm.
there. He was only maybe, I would say 30, 40 feet away from the camper where him and Angie
Hmm.
were sleeping in the truck. And he had a recorder running, and I had a recorder running on the back of our truck too. And both of them had quit. Both of them stopped. We didn't get that recording. Both of our recorders shut down, which is
The
odd.
batteries died in them, or just they got
No,
shut
no,
off.
they just stopped working. They didn't work. We had
Hmm.
I went over to say, "Hey, I got this," and went and picked up the recorder right after to listen to do a
Yeah.
playback on it. It was
Hmm.
turned off. It was the recording part was shut off of it, completely shut off on Bud's and my audio, both of our audios. We have the Zoom, and it worked. I turned it on, it worked fine the rest of the night after that. Never had an out.
Maybe one of them could have come over and played with it.
No, because no, I really don't know. They might have been able to do Bud's because he heard something outside the truck.
Hmm.
Um, when we were getting those screams, he had something going on where he was. He had put his hand on his shotgun, put it that way, laying there. Um,
Hmm.
but I, I, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't in my sight. There would be the possibility, but I really question it. I don't know why, but both of our recorders were off. The recording part, it was just shut off. Didn't record.
Well, there is an instance
They
that
push a
happened to
button, whatever it
me.
was.
Yeah, there was an instance that I had a recorder out, one of the old style, the little
Uh-huh.
cassette inside, and it got shut off. And
Yeah.
when it got shut off, I heard a real short, almost like a kid, not giggling, but kind of, putting out a little whoop of joy because it got close to the I guess it may have touched it and shut it off. And it wasn't in my sight either. So I don't know that whenever I went over, the sound was caught, it wasn't running.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. We found that to be very odd. But whatever came up close to us that night sounded just like Jody, just identical to Jody. Bud was able to hear it as well.
Well,
But
you know,
we who?
they mimic they mimic the sounds
Sure.
of in the woods. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard to imitate her.
No, no, it would not. But like I said, we're going back down, here relatively quick.
Mhm.
We're gonna spend a little time down there. Like I said, not a lot of vocalizations except for what we kind of antagonized or whatever. But it's the movement at night on the recorders and different things like that we both have picked up a lot on, And like I said, there was something standing there that was rather tall with eye shine, blinking, and it's on their on that episode, and we found that to be very interesting. And but people want to question Flat Rock. Don't question him. I've been there twice.
No, I've spoken to Flat Rock.
Yeah,
Uh, upstanding
experienced
guy.
it.
Uh,
Experienced it. You
yeah.
know, which I found very interesting too is they whistled through their teeth there, and they were doing whistles there mimicking. Um,
Mhm.
and that was very interesting. We heard, there was trees crashing. You could hear the walking, all the movement, and like I said, all around the camper and things like that. We experienced a lot there, an awful lot.
All right. Seeing how you said that word mimic again. Do y'all remember the recording that I just played right before I went out? Did y'all hear it, or
Mhm.
do you want to hear it again? All right. Let's play it again now that I'm back. Hang on. Okay. That's three times. Now, that was the unedited version. Is that right, Miss Pat?
Yes, but it was a little bit more distant away. The one on the Dropbox,
That's
it
what I'm
sounds
going
a little
to.
bit different because they were closer, and there's a little yip. There's like yip yip right
All right.
before it, and you get that big moan.
All right. Here you.
We're,
th-
okay.
This is the cleaned up version, I believe, that you sent to. Is it David in Oregon?
Oh yeah, that isn't as good, but
I only can play what you send me.
I know, but the Dropbox one is really good.
Yeah.
There it is.
Now, can y'all hear that? What the noise
Yes,
that it makes before it gives that
it's
little holler?
Mhm.
a little yip.
Is
Now,
that
Yep.
I don't know what it is.
to me? Now, this is just my ears hearing it. Y'all got y'all's opinion too, of course. It sounds like to me it's trying to mimic a coyote, a sick one, but it sounds like it is.
Yeah, that's the thoughts that, it was more like a
Mm-hmm.
young one, or I don't know. You can go into dog man, you can go in all over the place, with it.
Mhm.
But I know that it is enough that they're having a huge camp out there because of it. And I've camped there before, anyway. And Flat Rock, and Connor, um, also, they were sitting at another campsite a little bit a ways from us, from the camper, and they were looking on their thermal, and everybody was watching something messing around our camper on the thermal. They were watching one messing around over there, right there. Um, and also Joe had went out and something took off in the bushes. It's been known, it backs up to the Talladega National Forest. So, and it is a hunter's camp. And like I said, this last time we experienced more there because there was no one there yet. We were the only ones there.
Mhm.
So, and we
Okay.
picked that up that night. Plus, Justin had played. He pulled his little toolbox out where he pulled out the death whistle and different things like that. And he played. He blew on some of that stuff and everything. And we have to question: did that bring him in?
Mhm.
Joe and I, after everybody left, Joe and I went and stayed an extra night just by ourselves, and we got some coyote howls. But while we were there, Jody and I had went up on the mountain by ourselves, but we were together. There was two of us anyway, um, and we got up to the top. There was a green field up there. There's known to be a green field up there, and the reports have been in the past that there was a hunter killed up there. That his gun was laying next to him, and he was basically ripped apart and found up there. Well, we walked up the side of the mountain up to this greenfield area. We decided to stay on trail because we knew we would be in trouble if we went off trail. But we were at the top of it, and I said, let's provoke them a little bit. It's just two women
Oh,
here. So, anyways, so Jody goes, go ahead. I don't know. And I go, yeah, let's provoke them. So I hollered at them to come on, and you know, um, for them to come walk down with us down the mountain and different things like that. I hollered at them and made a bunch of racket at them. And Jody said, "No, Pat, I don't want them to follow me home or whatever." I go, "Nah." I said, "I'll tell you what." I said, "You guys walk with us. Come in. We can hear noises. It's like I said. So we we can hear noises on the way down some." And I said, I'll tell you what, you guys can walk down with us. Come on and walk. Come on. You know, we'd enjoy your company, and just loud. I was loud and obnoxious. And I said, but you can't go past the gate. Well, another YouTuber, um, Roger, came there, and he was walking around over that way, was curious about the hillside and what have you. We had just came down from there. We weren't down there less than 5 minutes, and he has recorded this big screaming and carrying on. So Jody said, "I'll never doubt you again, Pat. I know that's you were provoking on the hill." So, anyways, we did that, and he's got that up on his channel and things like that. But with all of this going on, they're planning something up there, and we're participating. but we're
Oh.
going up early, you know.
Now, when are you doing this?
Um, October, October, the first weekend of October.
The first weekend? Okay.
Well, we're going the first week of October, last week of September, and then from there we're heading straight to Flat Rocks for like 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
From
I might just see if I can get a Flat Rock to get on the phone and come on, give us a live while y'all out there getting.
you talk to him, he's up for it. I'm sure he would.
Oh yeah, he would.
Yeah.
But that way I get me a report on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Oh, you can't beat him.
Oh, yeah,
There's another one over on
my
your
buddy.
left-hand side, the same way.
Yeah, he's my buddy. And I always take care of Flat Rock when we're camping because he was pretty sick when we camped with you, old bear. And I pretty much took care of him during that time, and he hasn't forgotten it. He was pretty sick. But he's all good now.
Oh yeah.
And he's all good. But I've had that's all happened, but I have something that I've been watching for like over a year now. We were camping in the national forest in a different location, and this is in the middle of the forest. Well, the locals told Joe about there's a pond where we could go fishing at in the middle of the forest. It's beautiful. And I sent you pictures of this pond. It's about a 5-acre pond in the middle of a national forest. It was at one time, and I found this to be a coincidence in places. It's like connected to an old bomb. It's an old bombing range as well. And we went there, and I'm going to set out recorders. We went there at night, and it was way back in there, and I was creeped out that night. And there is a levee sitting there on the edge of it, and you don't see any animals around or anything. No snakes. Is all you hear is frogs, and there's some catfish and what have you. But we went there, and I was setting the recorder out, and I was looking through the thermal as Joe was setting the recorder out, and we got the loud. I've never heard a mouth pop before, or the cupping of the hands. Loudest, and it echoed right because it's all in a circle right there with trees surrounded, so it amplifies. And it was probably we figured it was 50 yards away from us. So I let the recorder out, and it was right before dark. No one's around there. No one. And I put the recorder out, and Joe had gotten in the garbage can, which is a bear proof, whatever it was. He had got in it and closed it. He had thrown something in there. Well, right after we left, you hear the tree knocks. We hear the bear proof garbage can open and slam shut. And that's all on a recording. I got it, which is great. I wasn't there, but some of the stuff that we get it in real time as also as being recorded as well. That time we had trees falling. You hear all this. You hear slapping in the water. You hear something beating on something, which I think is what it is. It's turtles. Something's beating on turtles or catfish. But what we did discover by accident, we go to pick up our recorder. We're going to set another one out just a few days later. The place is blocked off. And we go, why is this place blocked off? It's a fishing rodeo. They had just dumped, let me tell you, they just dumped, it was going to be the next day. That week, they had dumped a load of catfish in that pond for the kids. And we just happened to be at the right place at the right time. Okay, so the national forest feeds the boogers.
Yep, sounds
so,
like.
Mhm.
right. So we happened to just got lucky and run across that one. But we have put recorders out there, and we have heard numerous sounds out there. I've got numerous recordings of the place where we in Louisiana we don't get a lot of vocals, um, but they don't seem to mind recorders. And anywhere I go, they don't seem to mind recorders. But we don't get very many vocals down there as
Mhm.
well. But you hear the movement, they come right up to the recorder, they mess with the recorder. You can tell the difference. They
Mhm.
stomp off, you can hear them walk up, you hear them stomp off, and they let us know. Now, Joe, one time he decided he was fishing. He fishes there too, as well. And a rock come flying through the trees at him. And he said, "You can have it. I'm out of here."
Yeah.
And
Smart man, Joe.
right, right. Well, he got upset with me because I said, "Can we put the marbles out?" He goes, "Hell no, we're not putting no marbles out in the truck." And so he fusses at me and stuff like that. But we, I mean, and so we getting this stuff on recorded as we hear it in real time. What's
Yeah.
that?
I don't know. No, that was not me.
What'd you say, Ralph?
No,
Okay.
that was Miss. That was Barb.
Oh,
Yep.
Barb.
That
Hi,
wasn't me. That
Barb.
was Barb.
Oh, but how are you? Good, good. But but the thing is we are. What's very interesting about it is we're hearing this, and then it's recorded to back us up. Um,
Hmm.
we did. Now, there's one time I've been a little bit afraid. There is everything happens right before dark. We have found. Um, and like I said, we don't see deer, we don't see anything around there, which we find it very unusual. Um, we were a distance. We were on the on by on the other end of the levee. I'm probably maybe 40 feet away from the truck, and it turned dark. And as we're getting ready to walk back, I hear a thump, and it's at the truck. And I go, "Joe, there's something there. Did you hear that?" And he goes, "Yes." And so what we did is we chose to ignore it and act like we didn't hear anything and continue to walk through the truck to try and get to safety. But what people don't realize is there was a recorder sitting on the truck. So I got it. And there was movement around the truck and things like that. But there's only one way in and one way out, and we could easily be blocked in. And and that unnerved me because whatever it was but was between us and the truck.
Mm-mm.
So I'm a little more cautious there now.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is moved back, but it was there. It was right there at the truck.
Always park on your way out.
Well, it was faced on the way out, but
Mm-hmm.
when there's a levee there, and it's a beautiful area. um, they did do a burn there this year. So I think it kind of moved them back in a little bit because we went down the road, and we were by a clear cut that was not far from this pond. And I had Joe do a knock I said, "I want to see if something's here because we're not hearing anything." And he did a knock, and there was a faint one that was relatively close, came back. So they weren't right there, but they were still in the area. And it's been so hot to go out there. We usually like to go out and leave recorders, but we've had, terrible storms and things like that. I don't want to ruin all
Well,
my recorders.
yeah, no doubt. Okay.
But I found that to be like a little study group. I following up on that. I'm moving in very slowly. I don't walk back in there or anything like that because I don't want to push them back.
Yeah.
Joe said I want to pet them, but That's what he says all the time. She just wants to pet one. But what I'm trying to do is, you know, it's a feeling of they they know that we know.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
had we had a tree pushed. There was some people fishing there that were across the pond from us, and what I find really odd is after we got there and we were fishing around there, right behind those people, they didn't pay any attention to it, but we heard the tree crack and the tree fall, and we go, "Oh." Joe said, "Did you just hear that?" But we get some things like that, but you can't prove anything with that one. But
Of course.
the thing is it's a case of we make our presence known, and it's just usually the two of us, and we don't pressure them. I don't pressure them there, because I want to see what's going on.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
There's more. There's
so
more to be learned about these critters.
I don't know. That's kind of about it. I tried to skip over a lot of stuff, but that's the kind of stuff that we have go on.
I tell you what, Miss Pat, and we do. We need to get off here. It's 9:17 my time, and I got to go to work.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I
You're
told
Well,
you.
you're fine. You're doing great so far. Uh, but I will, if you don't mind, I will
Yeah,
have you back on, and if I can, I'll get with Flat Rock when y'all do
sure.
this, and we'll do just like a little live. Tell me what's going on. Keep me updated, and let's have a little fun there if you don't care.
Well, I think it's only fair to you that you're the only one that even knows so far that we're going to Flat Rocks. So I think
Cool.
it's maybe fair that we tune in with you. It's not a secret anyway.
Okay.
It's never. I don't keep secrets. I'm a woman. I'm not good at keeping secrets. Only when I want to.
Well,
But it was fun. It was fun.
okay. Well, make sure you got these recordings. Make
Sure.
sure you download them into something besides Messenger, please.
Right, right. I do. What I do is I get so excited. It's like, oh, Joe, did you hear that? And what I'll do is I'll drop it in Messenger real quick, and he's finally turned me loose with his computer. So I have his computer down there, and when we come up here, I'm gonna take mine back and fill it full. But I fill his computer full of stuff.
Oh,
I try and dump my some of my stuff in there, but I get hours and hours of audio.
there you
Oh
go.
yeah, I
Thumb
have that.
drive. I
Yeah,
got to do it myself. You know.
yeah.
All right. All right. Old Bear, I appreciate you coming in here, buddy. I really do. And you know I do. You got anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
I got one thing for Pat.
What's that?
You can make it to
Yes.
Salt Fort next Thursday through Saturday night.
Mhm.
Through
You know how
Saturday
you said
night.
you,
Okay.
yeah, either Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Saturday night, Icebox will be there. We're having a brown beans and everything on Saturday night. Your mom
Okay.
will feed you, take, and then we'll reverse the tables. I'll be the antagonist of the Bigfoot, and then you can get on me.
Okay. I missed that last part, but that sounds like a plan.
Oh,
Well,
it
I'll
does.
I'll do
Yeah,
all
that
the
sounds like
screams
fun.
and I'll scream and howl and everything I know to tick them off and get them to come in.
Okay, and I'll pee all over the woods like I do. Being rude. That's what us few girls do is that's what Jody and
Hmm.
Angie. Oh, Angie's good at that. Yes, we go do that. So just to bring them in, we mark our territory. Us girls do.
That is
It
so
was
funny.
great being on. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm glad because I don't have to say much. I sit here and just listen to, but that's old
Oh, a
Bear.
woman.
I can sit here and listen to Bigfoot stories all night, but apparently, where it comes next, you know what I'm saying? It comes first, actually. But anyways, Yeah, this was great. This was fun. Thank you, Miss Pat. I really do
Great.
appreciate it. I
Thank
would
you
love
for
to have
having
you back on if you wouldn't mind. Uh,
Sure.
oh, Bear, I really do appreciate you coming in, helping me out.
Yeah,
And
bro.
Waylon, yeah, I know Waylon is it's not a hard time on him right now, but he did need to get off. So y'all look after that and think of him when you can.
Okay.
All
Good
right.
to see you. Good to see you, Ralph. And night, Barb.
Good
Yeah.
night.
Yes. Yes.
And
I
I'll
will.
Good
try and make it up. I'll try and make it up. Okay. I
Okay.
will try. I will try. Okay.
I hope you
Thank
All
you
make
so
it.
right.
much. Thank you so much for having me.
Y'all
Bye all.
appreciate it. Bye, y'all. Y'all have a good night, and we'll see y'all next Thursday. Do have a special guest, and it's going to be a different subject. And I think y'all really enjoy it. So y'all come back and see us next Thursday. Miss Pat, thank you. Really, I appreciate that. It was great.
Well,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you. It was my pleasure.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Y'all come back and see us.
Okay.
Is it going to? No.